I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the strategy room. The race for Kentucky governor is heating up only hours before voters there go to the polls. Republican nominee businessman Matt Bevin believes his outsider status is a stark contrast to State Attorney General and Democrat Jack Conway. With polls showing the race is running neck and neck, the contest is a true toss-up right now. And here with their take and prediction, Nomiki Konst, founder and president of the Accountability Project, and Brian Morgenstern, vice president of the Manhattan Republican Party. Welcome to you both.
Hi.
Thank you.
So, Nomiki, what do you think the outcome will be tomorrow?
I think that it's going to be a low turnout election. Usually special elections or off election years are low turnout. I think the issue that the Democrats are going to be facing is how do we turn out? In these off-term elections, off-year elections, Republicans turn out more. Conservative Republicans turn out more. And I think that's why Bevin has been, he's a businessman. And traditionally when a businessman runs as a Republican, they're a little bit more moderate. I think you could speak to this a little bit more. He is playing very hard to the base. He's campaigning on Kim Davis. He's appearing in I think he did an ad with her or some sort of distributed mail with her. Right. He's talking about same-sex marriage, gun rights, very hardcore Republican values to turn out his base. And I think there might be a surprise and he might do better than we thought, but I still think that Conway's going to win.
I mean, Brian, what do you think?
Conway is a strong candidate. He ran against Rand Paul for Senate, and they had really good debates back and forth. This is going to be a little bit of a bellwether in terms of how strong is the conservative movement that has led to these congressional wave elections in the midterms. Is it going to be another one of that? Are they slowing down? Or is the GOP going to have to do something to keep the momentum going? Or is it there and and strong enough already? I think obviously the personalities matter. I think Conway is a more seasoned candidate and than Bevin is, and so that's an advantage. They've both run in statewide elections already, so they sort of have a base of support. But that's what I'll be looking for is where's the momentum?
But Brian, is someone like Bevin riding on the sort of the momentum that's behind Donald Trump and Ben Carson, sort of the outsider status? Is that the kind of momentum he's running on, or is he running kind of his own campaign?
That's what I think he himself is claiming to be running on. That politicians haven't been doing the right thing. They haven't used common sense. And in my experience, I think we have gotten away from common sense because the interest groups on both sides scream so loudly and can mobilize so many voters immediately to write letters and make phone calls that the common sense does get lost in the mix sometimes. And so I think that environment is sort of justified as to whether he's able to articulate that and channel that properly as opposed to, sort of turning into a clown show, as everybody refers to it, I think remains to be seen. But the election's tomorrow. We'll see how it shakes out.
And Nomiki, I mean, that's an interesting point, too, about should we look at the Kentucky race and see it sort of a bellwether for the presidential race, in that if Bevin does well in Kentucky, is that a sign that, someone like a Trump or a Carson are going to sneak in for the president? Not sneak, because they're obviously I don't know why I said sneak, but I mean the idea that...
He's on the poll. How did we...
I know. Yeah. The momentum is clearly there.
I think they have two different situations here. To run for president, you have to have infrastructure in place. You have to work with the establishment. You have to have ground operations in every single state, get on the ballot. I don't know at this point whether or not these the Carsons and the Donald Trumps of the world can do that effectively. I mean, we'll have to see when the primaries start, in January. But running for Senate is a very different thing. Running for governor is a very different thing. And you can, in these off years, these more conservative years, do very well. And that's how the Tea Party swept in. I think the issue with Bevin being how did you say it? You said a more realistic, a more reasonable candidate.
I don't know, outsider businessman, guy who tries to use common sense as opposed to partisanship.
Yeah. He's not running on that. And he's even said that the top three issues that people are talking about on the campaign trail are Planned Parenthood, same-sex marriage, and guns. So he is steering away from that. And Conway is running as he's had a very quiet campaign. He doesn't interact with his opponent often. He's only running ads pretty much and going out on the campaign trail. It's almost like he's ignoring his opponent at this point, which might prove to be smarter. But we'll see tomorrow.
And what do you think, Brian? You'll give you the last word here.
Again, it's a seasoned candidate, a state attorney general, a guy who's held office, a guy who's run for the United States Senate, against a guy who has never won an election before and who has only had a business. And this is going to be a bit of a test. Granted, Kentucky isn't the same as the whole country, but it's going to be a bit of a test as to how receptive voters are to that kind of an unconventional candidate.
And he's saying that he's not kowtowing to anybody. There's nobody he owes anything to, and so you're not going to get this sort of, crony politicians.
And remember, that worked for Arnold Schwarzenegger in California not that long ago. So it's not a crazy message, or not a crazy thing to think voters aren't receptive to that.
All right. I want to thank you so much, Brian and Nomi, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.